Well, hey everybody, it's Andre with North Texas Ghost Society. And on this episode of Paranormal Equipment Tips, I want to talk about stabilized footage and how important that it is, and that's coming right up. Well, as paranormal investigators, it's happened to all of us to where we've had a camera and we're shaking around and it gets a little bit of that Blair Witch Project going on. And you want to be able to try to get some more stable footage, even with an IR camera. So you have a couple of different alternatives. So let's say that you've got yourself a mirrorless camera, then you get yourself a 3-axis gimbal. And there you go, nice stable footage while you're walking around. Or you can have a bigger camera and have a bigger 3-axis gimbal to use with it. Or if you don't want to go the gimbal route of having a big DSLR or a big mirrorless camera and toting around a 3-axis gimbal, you can also get yourself a camcorder, which there's nothing wrong with camcorders. I love them. I use them. Now I've got the Sony AX33, and the neat thing about this is, for me personally, now shooting in 1080p, there's nothing wrong with that, but I like shooting in 4K. This one shoots in 4K, and if you look, let's see if we can see that. The whole lens assembly, that little eye that you see in the lens, that whole lens assembly actually moves along with the camera. So basically when you're walking around and you've got this type of motion or a little bit of this motion or even tilting up and down while you're walking, the lens assembly inside the camera will actually move around and compensate for those little movements. So that helps give you some stable footage. Now, I like Sony for 2 reasons. Well, really 3. I like the BOSS system, which stands for a Balanced Optical Stabilization System. I like their color profile and the image quality that comes out of the Sony camcorders. And I also like the fact that they have night shot. So with night shot on, you get that greenish tint, but that's because the little red IR light has just come on to the camera. So you can either use the little IR light that comes on the camera. Now, the only thing that's wrong with the IR light that comes with the camera is that it doesn't shoot very far. But the nice thing about the AX33 is that it has a hot shoe mount where you can mount on a proprietary Sony IR light that will go onto it, and it will shoot approximately a good 20-30 feet. Or you can use it as a cold shoe and stick on your IR light that you may already have and just put it on a cold shoe mount, slide it right in, and you're good to go. Now, like I said, I like Sony particularly. I'm sure Canons do great too. But just for me personally, I like Sony. That's why I've got the AX33 here, and I'm also shooting on the AX33 right now facing at me. I'm shooting 4K, but I'm going to downsample it to 1080p when I upload it to YouTube. So you've got those alternatives. Or you can get yourself a GoPro Hero 7, which has got great stabilization in it and pretty good audio. Now, it does not have night vision or IR capabilities, but if you're shooting B-roll for any of your sequences, this comes in handy, or if you're just doing handheld shots. And there's another rig that you can do with this. You can put your GoPro inside of a rig like this right here, where you've got your audio, an external audio microphone with a little dead cat on it so that it takes away some of the wind noise. But let's just imagine that we want to do this on a budget. So if you're on a budget and you're trying to think, okay, well, I want to be able to get some nice stable footage. I want to be able to use an IR camera. I don't want to go out and go spend the money for a Sony AX33. I don't want to spend the money for a mirrorless camera. I don't want to spend the money for a DSLR. I'm on a budget. And that's fine, because this dude's on a budget too when it comes to going out and doing investigations. So there was a previous video that I had done where I'd shown how to convert a very inexpensive, like $40 action camera, convert it over to CIR. And it shoots 1080p, 30 frames per second, works great. What I'll do is I'll put a link right up here to that video so that you can check it out. It's a step-by-step tutorial of how to take the camera apart, how to take the IR filter off of the camera lens, how to focus the camera and all that, and it works great. So your alternative then is to get the little action camera I was talking about from that video and stick it into this, a small little 3-axis gimbal. Now the neat thing about this is it has a 1/4-20 screw right there on the side, so you can take a 1/4-20 to 1/4-20, screw this into the side right there, and then you can attach your IR light if you already have one. If it has a cold shoe mount on it, it may have a 1/4-20 inlet on the bottom. If it doesn't, just take the cold shoe off and you'll have a 1/4-20 that you can screw right in. So now you've got an IR light, and this one here is pretty simple to turn on. Just hold the button, and there you go. You are good to go now. So you've got nice stabilization while you're walking around. You can adjust, you can tilt up, you can tilt down, you can face it towards you, you can adjust the motor speed, all of that jazz. And the really neat thing about this gimbal is that it has a little power indicator right here on the side, 12 hours of battery use. Also, on the flip side of this is a USB that you can put out to charge your action camera while it's working. So it's a nice little thing to get some stable footage. And if you've seen some of the latest videos, you can see the footage is just nice and stable. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I've had a few people that have messaged me saying, hey man, how are you getting such stable footage even with an IR camera that seems to have a wide angle lens on it? It's just these action cameras. So it's an easy way for you to get nice, professional looking, cinematic, night vision or IR capable video footage of your investigations. And the nice thing about these little action cameras, the built-in microphone is not that bad in it. So it actually, I picked up some really good EVP responses, just like down in Lavaca County Jail when I was just walking around doing some B-roll, and all of a sudden I was picking up female voices on the action camera that were talking to me. So it's a great way for you to get nice stable footage, and it was just a way that I just wanted to kind of tell everybody about how to do it. Like I said, link up here again to the original video of how to convert your action camera over to CIR, and then I'll also put a link in the description below so that you can check out this 3-axis gimbal for your action camera. And the cool thing is it even comes with a little tripod so that you can set it down, because it also has a 1/4-20 on the bottom of it. So just my little tip for this week. I don't know if I'm going to make a weekly episode out of this, but let's consider this episode number 2 of Paranormal Equipment Tips. Next episode number 3, is going to be about microphones, different microphones, and also different digital recorders to use, and maybe even going old school with some old tape recorders. So, by the way, if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing today. Click on that little bell so that you're notified every time that I upload a video. And as always, keep it spooky. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.